This whole scenario goes back to Thanksgiving. In my house, Thanksgiving is one of the few times a year when I can just relax and take a drink. So I got a little buzzed, but my wife got wasted. Towards the end of our dinner, I was washing the dishes when my wife, Claire, stumbled into the kitchen. She had tears streaming down her face, washing away her mascara, making her look a proper mess. I asked her what was wrong, but she was totally inebriated and was slurring her words so badly that I could only make out, "I'm sorry." Since I was already a little tipsy, and now that her random behavior caught me off guard, I was so confused that I just stared at her for a while. However, I eventually snapped out of my daze, got her a glass of water, and took her to the bedroom where I laid her down for some rest. That was the day I started wondering what the hell was going on with her. Fast forward to around early December, I went home early one afternoon because of a bad fall I had at work, and when I showed up, I was caught off guard by the presence of another car in my driveway. This wasn't a familiar car either. It was a 2003 Dodge Durango, which I hadn't seen since one of my buddies crashed his back in '05 at a house party. Anyway, I went through the front door, and Claire was sitting on the couch with a glass of red wine in hand, and when she saw me, she hurriedly got up and ran over to give me a giant hug. I remember thinking to myself that her reaction was a bit exaggerated, but quickly chalked it up to her being a bit sauced off the wine. What was really puzzling was the unfamiliar car parked in my driveway. So when I asked about it, she told me that it belonged to one of her girlfriends, which caused me to look around the room expecting to see said girlfriend, a pair of heels, or something that would represent a female visitor, but to no avail. So I asked her, "Where is this girlfriend?" She replied that she was taking a shower because she had spilled some of the wine on herself. I didn't buy this story one bit, and I just felt in my gut that she was lying to me. So I asked again, and she fed me the same story. I had a wild idea pop up in my head at that moment. The funny thing is that me and my friends quit playing poker because I had an Oscar-worthy poker face, and I decided to bring that into play here. I just sat down and said, "I already know what you're up to, and that's why I came home early." Her eyes widened, and she looked petrified. No, what?" she stuttered. I again told her that I already knew and that I deserved to hear it from her, and that's when she broke. I didn't expect my bluff to work, and it probably wouldn't have if she hadn't been drinking. She started apologizing and told me that she wasn't being her whole self, and she needed to be open and honest with herself. Then, on cue, almost as if they had planned it, the woman she had been seeing walked out of the bathroom. The woman froze when she saw me, then sat down next to my wife and held her hand tightly. That was when it clicked for me. Earlier, when she mentioned the girlfriend, I had no idea that she was literally having a relationship with a woman. Claire then said, "I'm sorry you had to find out like this, but I can't keep pretending and wasting my life like this." The combination of being shell-shocked, disrespected, and sad became too overwhelming, and I couldn't help but shed a few tears. I refused to break down, but I was unable to hold them all back. I told the strange woman to leave my house immediately, but she refused. Now, although I am not an intimidating or aggressive person, I couldn't help myself from throwing the coffee table across the living room, nearly knocking over my dinner table. She looked scared, and I, almost sociopathically, calmly told her to leave once more. But she was insistent that she wasn't going anywhere until my wife basically pushed her out. Claire came back in and started apologizing and saying shit like, "You're my best friend," and "I still love you." But at this point, the pain of falling off a ladder onto tile and then picking a stone coffee table had taken its toll on my back, so I crumpled down to lay on my sofa. My wife came over to comfort me, but I flipped out when she touched me, and she went right to the bedroom. That night, I slept right there on the couch. The rest of December was horrible. I really messed up my back and had to go to the doctor. I was given some rather strong painkillers and a cane. I slept a lot as a result of the side effects of the painkillers, and I was unable to work because of my back injury. So I spent the month crying about the death of my marriage and my severe back pain. Every once in a while, I had a couple crackers, but overall, I didn't eat much and ended up losing 13 pounds within 2 weeks. Claire stayed at her girlfriend's house for most of December, but she and the girlfriend came over for Christmas, and when my wife saw my dirty clothes, caveman beard, and my swollen eyes, she cried a little. They sat me down and said that my wife was moving on, but that she still loves me as a best friend. Here's the kicker. She wanted me to accept her relationship and stay involved in her life. For the first time in weeks, I found a bit of strength and told her that I was done with her. She had broken me, and I wasn't gonna stand around and congratulate her after she left me alone with a broken back and heart. The girlfriend tried to talk, but I cut her off and called her a homeworker, to which she got rather upset, and I told her that she wasn't welcome in my house. Claire tried to speak, but I cut her off and told her that the homeworker needs to leave before we discuss any further. So she left, and my wife and I continued to talk. I told her that the divorce was coming and that she could take almost nothing from me since I inherited my house well before we got together, and both my cars were gifted to me by my uncle around the same time I got my house. She looked a bit disappointed, and I told her that this was the last time we'd speak in person, and all communication would be through my attorney from now on. She begged me to keep in touch, but I told her the truth on how I felt, that I thought about killing myself at least 10 times a day. I told her that she meant more to me than anything else in the world. But she betrayed me, and right now, just talking to her made me physically sick, and I felt literal pain. When I told her that, she looked as though she was about to break down, but she turned and left. So that's where I've been, and I still think about her all the time. At the moment, it's as though my world is upside down. My life feels like a bad simulation, and I just want to know how to go back to living my life.